And the claim that I am responding to is, the regulation of fast food building permits would slow down the obesity problem in America. My advocate's secondary claims are, fast food availability contributes to obesity. The heavy barrage of fast food advertising has left a major impact on the lives of Americans, and local regulations can control the growth of fast food restaurants. In her first secondary claim, she uses a quote that makes up most of the support. And the quote is, "It is not surprising that children eat so much fast food, as a recent study found that fast food restaurants in Chicago are clustered within a short walking distance from schools. 3 to 4 times as many fast food restaurants were located within 1.5 kilometers of schools than would have been expected if the restaurants had been distributed through the city unrelated to school locations." The advocate uses, I submit that the urban center fast food restaurants are clumped together in the first place and that the schools are coincidentally near them. An article in the New York Times by Jennifer Medina states that South LA will ban new fast food restaurants from being established because the neighborhoods are already too impoverished and obese. This suggests that fast food restaurants don't set up shops and make people in the neighborhood obese. They target places where people are already obese, so that more people will probably buy their food. A research article written by Biomed Central scientists Andrea Richardson, Jan Boone Heinemann, Barry Popkin, and Penny Gordon Larson states that from a 2011 study, fast food accessibility was not associated with weekly frequency of fast food consumption in non-urban or low or high density urban areas. The conclusion from this is that policies aiming to reduce neighborhood availability as a means to reduce fast food consumption among young adults may be unsuccessful. In other words, even if the fast food restaurants were easily accessible to people, if they already exhibited habits of eating fast food a lot, it wouldn't matter, they would still eat fast food a lot, and if they exhibited habits of not eating fast food a lot, they still would not eat fast food a lot. I also challenge the advocate's claim that fast food availability contributes to obesity. Fast food is cheap, tasty, and fast. And as I said before, even if McDonald's is a couple blocks away, people will seek out the restaurant if that's what they're planning to get or if that's what their budget allows for. If anything, if they're farther away, obese people should walk there and get some extra exercise. Claim number 2, I dismiss this claim as irrelevant to the original claim. And claim number 2 is that the heavy barrage of advertising has effects on America's obesity. However true that this may be, it is not specifically related to the main overarching claims about fast food building permit regulations. The advocate claims that the heavy barrage of fast food advertising has left a major impact on the lives of Americans. This is a very unclear statement. Is the impact good or bad? Has it impacted their eating habits or some other facet about their lives? And as I said before, this doesn't have anything to do with the building permits slowing down America's obesity. Claim number 3, I challenge the opponent's lack of evidence and claim phrasing. In my advocate's final point, they use information from a single court case, Village of Euclid versus Amber Realty. The conclusion of this case states that the separation of residential, commercial, and industrial areas from each other bears a rational relation to the health and safety of the community. But this is the only piece of information used. It would have been better if there had been a little more backing to it. It is extremely vague and does not say anything about fast food restaurant zoning having effects on specifically obesity whatsoever. As a matter of fact, it seems like it means the separation of residential and commercial areas combined from industrial areas has positive effects on the community's health, because you wouldn't want a school right next to a freaking iron mill or something like that. In conclusion, my advocate does not really support their main claim with their secondary claims too well. And the secondary claims themselves are lacking in evidence and are not specific to the overarching claim of the speech. Thank you.
All right, all the structural things are fine. It's very easy to follow. You do labeling internally, so there's no difficulty there. On the discussion of the urban centers location of the fast food restaurants, you mentioned the South LA ban. I'm not exactly sure how that advances your point. The better evidence that you cite right after that suggests that there's a study which says that there isn't any relationship or no discernible relationship between obesity and the location of the restaurants. So I think you need to clarify how the South LA's activity or the ban that they put into place supports the position that you're taking on that particular issue. Basically, the link on availability, I think, has been challenged most effectively by the evidence that you have on that point. On the second point, you explain why the relevance is problematic, and I think that's pretty straightforward. There's also some general challenges to the inferences that the advocate was drawing. You suggest that, in essence, you can't really tell what the other arguments mean, and it's only the advertising issue that's important, and since it's not shown to be connected to the location of the restaurants, that we can mostly discard that. And I understood the reasoning there. I think you explained it very clearly. On the third point, your basic argument here is that there's a lack of evidence supporting the point, and the one piece of evidence that's being used seems to be ambiguous in its application to the argument that goes on here. I think that that's a pretty reasonable argument on this point. If you could develop some sort of counterclaim on the point, that would give it a little bit more strength, because then the absence of advocates' evidence supporting the point, along with the combination of some rebuttal argument, would make your position a little bit more sound. Taking the defensive position is not automatically bad, but it does seem like you're missing an opportunity to strengthen the side of the argument that you happen to be on here. All right, thank you. Yes, that part's always good. Neil.